Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is Monday. It's usually Monday when we meet. Tuesday, September 10th, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will grant permission to Westwood Media Center to record the meeting. Is there anyone else who would like to record tonight's meeting? Okay. Two updates under the chair's update. The first is something new, and it's something important for people to take notice of. On October 6th, our town will participate in something that is being put forth by the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. They have asked our town and many local towns to light our municipal buildings in red and participate in the Light the Night in Red, recognizing fallen firefighters and their families. And the fire department, in addition to coordinating the lighting of the two fire stations, town hall, the senior center, and the main library, that night with temporary red floodlights, have asked local businesses and members of the community to participate as well. And I don't know, is there something on the main page of the website? Do we know? Where do people
the
sign
fire
up?
department
Page. We can link to it.
on their webpage.
Can you do something on the main page? So it'd be good if you register a building, if somebody's inclined to join in on that. But for people who see this on October 6th, again, it's to recognize fallen firefighters and their families. So Westwood will participate. The next update is an unfortunate change in the Westwood Day scheduling, and it's due to the heightened concern over the Triple E virus and infected mosquitoes. And Westwood is still at a low level, moderate level. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't take appropriate precautions. So the Friday night football game is getting rescheduled to another date. Do we know that, what it is
We're
yet?
still working it
Allison,
out.
do
It's
we
either
know?
Friday or Saturday, either late in the afternoon, 3-ish,
Of the same
4-ish,
weekend?
Of the same weekend, or Saturday, just after Westwood Day. Are the
Okay,
times
so
that are being
more
considered.
information to follow. Hopefully that will draw a nice crowd, and the fireworks are canceled.
They're canceled.
So the fireworks that were going to be held on Friday night, we just don't want to have families outside after dark and exposed to mosquitoes, and we just have to keep everybody safe. So that is an update. Look for the schedule of the football game. Hopefully that will come out soon. Okay, so on to scheduled action. Excuse me. Our first item is an appointment. We're happy to say we have somebody who stepped forward to join the Westwood Historical Commission, which is under the town's direction and different from the Historical Society, although there's a lot of overlap. And Margaret Rustrian has stepped forward, and Nancy Donahue, who's chair of the Historical Commission, and Mike Gillette have both met with Margaret, and I guess you already knew each other. Mm-hmm. From the Historical Society. So I think that already having that background bodes really well. It's nice that you're interested. Is there anything either of you want to add?
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah. I told you I had a long list.
Thank you for stepping up.
Well, I think it's great. And given that you're already participating in the Historical Society, you know, obviously you know a great deal about Westwood, but you know about what the role is, and for the commission, there's a lot of review of proposals on historic homes, and that the Historical Society Commission goes through in reviewing. So, and I note here that in addition to being a member of the Historical Society already, you're one of the Fisher School third grade volunteers, that wonderful program with our elementary schools that takes place in the spring. Yes. That's great. No questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Motion, please.
Sure, I move that that the Select Board appoint Margaret Hoyt Rustring to the Westwood Historical Commission for a term to begin on September 10th, 2019 and end on June 30th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Margaret.
Thank you very much.
And good to meet you.
It's my privilege.
Okay, great. Next up, Father George, would you like to come forward? And Nora's here. Welcome back. So St. Mark's is going to host, is this the 4th or 5th?
Fourth, I believe.
Fourth? Yeah.
Yeah,
Fourth.
I think it is.
4th annual.
About in the year apart, yeah.
Okay, Greek Fest, and that's coming up soon this weekend, Saturday, September 14th from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday, the 15th from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this event is rain or shine, and under your tent you serve beer and wine, and albeit it's called a one-day alcohol license, we're looking for from Friday at
Sunday.
Friday, what time to start? 2 p.m.?
12
Noontime.
Noontime. Okay, I'm reading the wrong part. And carrying through to Monday at 2 p.m. to allow for complete cleanup and disposal of the alcohol.
Yes.
Nora, any comments you want to share?
It's the same as it's been in past years. They have the large tent. They have a segregated area, 3 tips trained bartenders. We've never had a problem. It's a great event, and
It sure is a great
I
event.
recommend that the board grant the license.
Okay, any questions?
No, I've been there.
Sean? Terrific. I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve a one-day special license for beer and wine to St. Mark's of
Ephesus.
Ephesus, thank you, Orthodox Cathedral for the Greek Festival 2019. The one-day special license will be valid from Friday, September 13th to begin at 12 p.m. noon for setup through Monday, September 16th at 2 p.m. for cleanup and disposal of all alcohol. This license is recommended to be granted contingent upon the receipt of final inspections from the building, fire, and health departments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. We certainly see your signs up around town, so I am sure the word is up in Westwood and
Yes,
the surrounding
phones have been
communities.
ringing, yes.
Food orders being taken.
You'd be
Almost.
surprised. Someone asked if we have delivery, so. We're not going to get into that, no.
That's a whole nother business.
yes.
Don't do that. Great. Well, we look forward to
Yes,
it.
we
And
do too.
Forecast
It may
is
be
good. so-
beautiful.
Yes,
yeah.
I know, yes. Okay.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Great success as always. Thank you. All right. Wegmans. Mr. Devlin, welcome back.
Welcome back. It's nice to see you all again.
It's good to see you too. So we have Wegmans applying for a change in officer and a change in manager. And you represent them as legal counsel, so
Yes.
share with
And
us.
Shockingly, for a national company, I actually have the 2 directors here because they're based out of Westwood. There's actually 2.
Oh, right, that's the local
and-
headquarters.
Kelly is replacing Bill Congdon, who's the division director, which means she's in charge of all the Massachusetts locations.
Right.
But the division office is in Westwood.
Right.
So you will see her at that store. She also spends a lot of time at the other locations too. But Kelly is replacing Bill, who is retired. And then Matt Finewood is
Matt.
replacing Kevin Russell, who is also a general manager at another store, but he's going to help open up some other locations in some other states. Matt is also replacing Dave Oslowski at the Westwood store as the general manager. Matt's coming over from Northborough, where he's been the general manager there, but also the manager of record for the last 5 years without
So
any
you follow
incident.
Dave in Northborough? And where did he go now? Where did he go now? Dave moved on?
Dave is going back to run our Johnson City location.
Southern tier New York. We'll do Nest.
Matt's
done
been
a
with the
great
company for 28 years, and so I've been to 3 locations with him so far, and I kind of did the math this time driving down. He's 43, so that means he started at 15. Kelly's been with it, for, the company for 27 years, so she started when she was 3. And
nice.
that seems to be the Wegmans way. They have all worked there for a long time.
Well, that's a good thing. And I'm sorry to hear that Mr. Congdon is retired.
After 48 years, I think.
Almost 48 years.
To a-
He's loving it. I wouldn't feel he's
Fishing house on, second
Well
home
deserved.
on Lake
Well
Michigan.
deserved.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Okay, so,
All right, I'll fix it backwards,
Yeah,
but that's okay. I got it.
but, so just in our materials, though, it says that
Backwards.
Bill Congdon's becoming
I think
Officer Director, so that's
Karen
not right.
transposed the name, so it's Kelly replacing William.
Yes, Kelly replacing Bill.
Terrific.
Bill would be disappointed to hear that if it were the other way around.
That's why I was surprised to see you retired, because, okay, so,
All
fire
right.
away.
I move that we approve a change of manager of record to Matthew Finewood and a change in officer director to Kelly, how do you say your last name? Shenik, for Wegman Section 15 off-premises wine and malt license.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Terrific. We love having you folks in town, and if there's ever anything we can do to help, let us know.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming in.
Thank you. Nice to see you all again.
Nice to meet you, sir.
We'll see you in the store sometime.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you. Good luck.
So you'll have to replace Dave now in the Rotary Club? I don't know, we'll figure it out.
And all those
Nice
things.
to meet you.
Kelly, thank you for coming
You're a
in.
familiar face, so I'm shopping.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next time I'll know I'll wave to you, okay?
Thank you for the time.
All
All
right,
right,
take care,
good
thanks.
night.
See you, Joe.
See you later.
Okay, WEAC, anybody from WEAC here tonight?
Yeah.
Not yet?
One?
One, do you want to wait for your colleagues?
I'm happy to wait for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you for coming in. We'll do the composting program for Westwood Public Schools. Come on down. It's not a problem. It's a good thing. I think I'm just going to turn it over to you because anything I say will probably steal your thunder. So is that all right?
That's great, thank you.
Okay.
And thank you all for having us. I want to thank Tish for helping us kind of organize our slides and
Okay.
Mike, and also to the folks at the Board of Health who we met with briefly about this.
Okay.
I want to introduce Kate Doyle, who's our elementary science coordinator, and Carlin Lazazzaro, who's an elementary science specialist. They are sort of team science right now, helping to
Great.
bring a lot of science education to the K-5 program. And they're going to kind of do most of the sort of nuts and bolts of this. But broadly, our goal is to set up a process for daily compost collection in all 5 of our elementary cafeterias. And I know the ladies here and some students have their eye down the road on the middle school and the high school as well. We actually think it's probably the students who will be leading the charge once this kind of takes off. So we're excited about that and about letting them do that. We think that's really important to give them a voice and an opportunity. I think Carlin's up next, or Kate is. Okay.
So the students have been leading the charge to compost. We are implementing a whole new set of standards. The new set of standards that came out in 2016 for the first time at science education included a piece that is about earth and human interaction. And this is a part of it. So we start in kindergarten talking about renewable and non-renewable resources and what those mean, and then we keep going right up through. And this push for compost this is our now 4th year. It started early on when we started to talk about where waste goes. And students started to talk about it, and we did small-scale composting within the schools in a very limited way based on the setup there. And then we started to get some pushback from students about what we needed to do. So in order to do that, we applied for a grant with the Foundation for Westwood Education, who generously granted us the money to start this program.
Great.
I'll also point out we have new social studies frameworks too that have a heavy emphasis on civics education. So it's going to be a nice alignment between science and civics too.
And Westwood is keeping right up with what's happening across the nation in terms of students really owning their need to improve the world for the future.
And educating their families,
And educating their families.
hopefully.
The trickle-down effect.
Do you want to do it? Yep. So we started, all of the 5th graders are required to do some composting and compare what different composters do. We started that pilot in 2019. At the same time, there was a very motivated group of 2nd graders at Sheehan Elementary School who decided that they wanted to have a project at the end of the year that really started up with some compost. So they did everything from making small-scale models to see what happens in a composter to then inviting the school administration and all of the department heads for science in all of the schools to hear their pitch for what they wanted to do, which was they wanted to start a school-wide composting program. And they had a lot of ideas about how to do that, who should do that, including really using students as leaders and as what they called ambassadors, compost ambassadors. So we were actually just about the same time we got the grant, and we were able to let them know that it was all coming together for them.
Wow.
And, you know, my job has always been like, have we talked to everybody we need to talk to? So made sure we got to food services, to operations, and to the Board of Health, and making sure we want to do this, but we also want to do it safely in a way that doesn't pose any health risk or, you know, attract animals or anything exciting like that.
So I'm really the lucky one who gets to be in the schools doing this with the students, the teachers, the custodians, and the support staffs within the cafeterias. So that's my special job, which has been amazing. The way that it works, what happens, what does this look like in your public schools, is that every day for 3 weeks, as we're rolling this out, we're rolling out one school for 3 weeks and then the next school for 3 weeks. I'm with them, or another member of our science team is with those custodians and cafeteria workers and other staff members within the cafeteria, talking about how to sort your waste in the correct way, in a new way that helps us to manage our environmental impact and have a kind of more awareness of that, but also it gets them to be really kind of having a lesson in the middle of lunchtime. So every day I go in there and we have new signs on each barrel. We have, this is our compost sign, and we have a new recycle sign, which I'm sure
And that's in all the elementary schools now?
We're starting at one by one.
Oh,
So
okay.
right now we're in
You did the
Deerfield.
Sheehan first, right?
No, we didn't. We did Deerfield first. But Sheehan comes up.
yeah,
Yeah.
Carolyn,
So
come
everybody-
on. We had a
well,
connection to the
here's
Sheehan.
the thing about Sheehan.
We'll have all of them done by mid-October, by
Yeah.
mid-November. Everybody will be on board.
We started at Deerfield because it was the smallest school, and we really wanted to work out some kinks. And we have 5 bins, so you have to like think about structurally how each lunch is going to work. So I get to be in there doing this with the kids every day. Since day one of school, I've been in there talking about how to do this, having discussions with students, having discussions with teachers, and they're sorting their waste and having these kind of conversations with each other and with me every single day,
That's
which
great.
is fantastic and really
So by the end of the
exciting.
year, you'll have all 5?
By December.
yeah.
December.
By December. We go to Sheehan next because they brought to us, through their proposal to Allison at the end of the year, the idea of having ambassadors. So the idea of bringing some students in on this, it takes a little bit of time. So I'm going to be starting with Sheehan before the rollout, before they actually roll out with the compost pickup, so that I can get the students on board and have that piece that they advocated for in their proposal as a real true element of the rollout. So that's why they're coming up a little bit later. So those
And we
will be
really
going
think
out.
that by the time the end of the school year comes around, the students really are going to be running the show in terms of managing the waste streams. So that by the end of the school year, they'll be coming home and saying, this is what we're doing. And the plan is to have students then develop materials to share with parents how you can do this. So either creating your own system at home, or being able to list all the different ways that parents could engage a company like the one that we're going to use to do this kind of work. So we're using City Compost, Westwood Days is using Black Earth, I think, right?
Yes.
And then there are several others coming up. And we're really trying to get ahead of this idea of managing our food waste. The state mandates that when you produce a certain amount of food waste per week, you have to compost. And it's only going to get smaller and smaller. So the mandates are going to become more strident, I think, across the state. So
And
we're
the
trying to get
compost,
on
will
the
you
front
tell us,
wave.
where does it end up going? Is it to these companies? They take it away?
So this particular company composts in Gardner. So they come and they take it away, and they then bring us back fresh, clean bins to fill for the next time.
I just want to know when it's going to go into the gardening program to use the compost.
We're
to
working
plant.
on
Working
it.
on that.
We're putting the gardens to bed soon, so by the time next spring comes around, City Compost will be bringing us finished compost
Okay,
while
great.
they come,
That's-
while they pick up our
To get the whole
our-
cycle
our-
is
our waste
important.
process.
So you can take a look at some of our bins. We have a bin for the landfill. This is an example of something that, these are not exactly ours, but example of where ours kind of look like. We have a landfill bin, students drain liquids, they recycle things that are recyclable, they're composting food items, and our trays, which is that last bin, is where those trays go, because our trays are actually compostable trays, and now we can actually compost them.
It's great.
Kind of last but not least, we mentioned the students, student advocacy. There's, this is just a nice photo of students who are engaged in this project in the Outdoor Learning Center at Sheehan. That's Sheehan, right?
They're in front of
Okay.
the compost bins at Sheehan.
And a letter from them, and I just want to give you the final quote. Here is an excerpt. "Let's do this important work. It will make the world better." They were so heartfelt and wonderful, and I have to say that the work that the teacher did with this class was impressive. The kids not only learned about science and research skills, but their presentation skills were extraordinary. They worked as a team. They had developed a slideshow. They had developed a video. They all had sort of advocacy points that they ended with. It was education at its best. So.
We try to tell all of the teachers, or we're working with all of the teachers, to say, you know, we don't want, in Westwood, we don't want kids to just learn about the science problem solvers. We want them to be them. So they have to be able to grapple with it and sort of come up with clunky ideas to refine to get to that point. And this group really exemplified what we want kids to be doing.
And here we are.
And now they're in third grade demanding a lot more.
And it brings it all together with that grant. It's beautiful. That's
Yes,
perfect
and
under
Yep.
the foundations.
A lot of appreciation for the foundation.
Yeah.
They've been so supportive over the years. So.
Well, you'll have to report back in some way at the end of the year.
I imagine we might
know
bring
this
some
is more of a
ambassadors back.
Yeah,
some
more of a
students.
school department thing, but it's really nice for us to hear it, for the community to hear it in another way, to know this is what's going on. I think it's very, very effective and great for the kids. What a wonderful way to learn.
Yeah, thank you for coming and presenting this. This is great.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for having
Good
us.
to see you.
Any
too.
questions?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you all. Thank you, and good luck with rolling it out with the other schools.
Thank you.
See ya.
Nice. Back to Westwood Day, are we ready, or do you still want to wait? You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, come on up. So we heard a little bit about what's going on in the schools, and you are here tonight from the Westwood Environmental Action Committee to talk to us about what you're going to be doing at Westwood Day to help educate the community.
Right, so this is very apropos.
It is.
What's just being discussed.
It was perfect, actually.
Serendipity here. Yes, please, go ahead.
Do you want me to start? Okay. So this kind of came out of some observations we did last year at Westwood Day. We kind of stationed ourselves informally near the trash bins and recycling bins in the food court, and we were just kind of collecting data informally on how people were disposing of their stuff. And what we saw most often was that people would approach the bins and be unsure where to put stuff. And if it took longer than about 5 seconds to decide, it just all went in the trash, or it mistakenly went in the recycling. So what was happening was most of the recycling was being contaminated by stuff that wasn't supposed to go in there.
Yeah.
Which meant that whole nice bin of recycling then just has to go in the landfill. So we kind of recognize this as both an opportunity to improve the way the town was handling trash and recycling, but also as potentially a way to help educate people in the town about how to do it right. So we kind of took this back to our group and we brainstormed, and we ended up connecting with Nicole Banks at the rec department, who with Sue Perry organizes Westwood Day. And we basically said, you know, what will you let us do? We'd like to try to maybe run some sort of station in the food court, or multiple stations in the food court, where we can sort of set up tables with the bins behind them, and then we put ourselves between the people and the bins, and the people can drop, like a table like this, people can drop their stuff off, and then we sort it for them, and along the way kind of help educate them about, well, this can't go in the recycling because even though it's plastic, it's dirty, and therefore it has to go in the trash, that sort of thing. And then the idea of adding composting came on board as well, and Sue's been working really hard with Black Earth Composting. That's yet another composting company that does works in the towns in this area, to say, hey, would you be willing to add your element to this sort of sorting plan we had in mind. And they were fully on board.
Yep, so they're amenable to coming by, setting up the station, having a truck nearby so that when the compost bins get filled, they get emptied into the truck. It's, for them, it's very nice because it comes in tandem with their desire to roll out curbside service for various towns in the area.
Okay.
Which is really kind of a nice benefit, you know, because there are a number of different composting companies. Black Earth has a very interesting program where they're a fully integrated company, and so they're really trying to make it easy for folks to compost and then be able to return the compost back come spring.
Right.
So.
Right.
They've offered it free of charge. We thought it was a very nice way to sort of exemplify exactly what the schools are doing, you know, another way of recycling and reducing the overall waste impact that Westwood Day has.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so the idea was to just twofold, to help the event become a greener event, but also to try to let people know, educate people along the way.
Right.
So we went through many iterations with Nicole Banks and Sue Perry, but we came up with, basically we're going to have kind of one big station in the food court. There have to be other barrels and other locations, but we're going to try to draw as much attention to ourselves as we can. And then, as I said, we'll have our tables and we'll sort stuff for people and we'll talk to them about it along the way.
That sounds
So that's
fabulous. I remember the beginning when we started up Westwood Day again, the first year not having enough trash bins.
Yeah.
So this is just fabulous to be able to do something like this, and a great opportunity to see how this composting company does.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really nice way to sort of introduce the concept. It's
Yeah.
nice. We didn't even realize at the very outset that the schools were doing this in tandem as well, so it's kind of a nice hand in hand. It'll be interesting to see how the kids come by.
Yeah. Have you connected with Todd Korchin and the DPW to
That is the next step.
have them?
Yep.
Because it'd be nice to invite them to observe Black Rock, the composter, and
Yeah.
see how they do. And
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we really liked, in our group, we've talked a lot about how to educate the kids, because they're sort of, you know, the people who are going to be making the decisions. So again, it's great that the schools are doing this, but we also need to kind of get to the adults too, because they're making the decisions in the households right now, so.
yeah, that's
hopefully
great.
we
Love
can
to hear about
hit a
how
lot
it
of
goes
people.
after the fact. If
Yeah.
you can, you know, whenever time WEAC is back in front of us or something, it'd be great to get an update on how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's great because what happens is you see so many people who can't figure out, like you said, 5 seconds, just throw it all out. So that'll definitely
You get
help.
frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's
we
a lot
are-
of work. Yeah, I mean, that you're actually going to clear these trays is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing that.
yeah, sure.
Well, we'll have, also, I think it will be in concert with the booth that WEAC will have, so kind of broadening the education.
Yeah, we're hoping to get people both in the food court and in the vendor village with our message, so.
Well, good luck.
Very good. We'll see you there.
Okay.
All right.
And it's going to be a beautiful day, so.
I'll just
Oh,
add,
it's going to be gorgeous.
Did you order it?
I'll just add 2 things. First off, I think this sorting out is very important because we got to get that contamination down under 15, or we're going to pay extra money
Percent.
to get rid of our waste. And we're pretty good, but we
need to be better.
We can continue to get better. The second thing I think is Black Earth is going to be marketing their product as well, because Westwood is one of the communities that are looking to provide services. They're looking to sign up at least 300 households to be picked up once a week for their table waste.
And what will they provide to
Right, is it
facilitate
another
that?
bid?
Because sign me up.
No,
That would be
they-
Well,
awesome.
so
They're going to sign up at Westwood Day, I
And our
believe.
sign-ups
yeah.
there, yeah.
But what
So
will they
what-
give us?
Yeah, so what they have is they have animal-proof composting bins. They're on rollers, right? And they can provide liners for those bins. So they're actually compostable plastic liners for the bins. And so you can have one in your kitchen, you can have one in the curbside recycling bin. And so all you have to do is wheel it down at the end of your driveway on the designated pickup day.
Yeah.
They have their own trucks. Somebody will come by, pick it up. And so you maintain
And they're proposing weekly?
They're, I believe the schedule is weekly. I'm not sure if that
Yeah.
varies, to be honest with you, but yeah, they provide the starter kit
Yeah,
and you sign
that's
up as a
great.
service.
And the nice thing is you can compost through them because they're sort of industrial level composting. You can compost a lot more stuff than what you could normally do. Like I do a backyard compost right now, but I'm pretty limited in what I can put in there.
Right.
They can take a lot more.
Right.
And then they bring you back that beautiful compost.
Most food products, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
And even
Paper.
some,
Paper,
even
some
things
paper.
like pizza boxes and things like that can go
Right.
in. Yeah,
Right.
So,
Which aren't supposed to go in your recycling.
right, you can't
bin.
put them in recycling, but
Because
they can
A
go
lot
in.
of people
Because
do.
they're
but
dirty,
They're
because they're
dirty, right.
grease.
Anything that has food particles on it should not be going in your recycling bin.
Well, I was just saying, on Nantucket, they have, this year, the DPW introduced a separation of compostable materials from non-compostable, and it's a requirement.
Yeah.
So, and they do clear bags, so you, when you go to the dump, but the whatever they call it, you have to keep them separate, and they can essentially see, but it's amazing, the reduction in non-compostable waste. It
It's-
is stunning.
It is, and the other thing that we've done as part of Westwood Day is we put together a tip sheet for vendors so that those vendors could use things that were compostable. There was a recommendations sheet that we put together, and we asked Nicole and Sue to distribute to the vendors. So that would actually improve the amount that would actually be compostable, because there are cups and plates and forks and so forth that can actually be composted. So we used some recommendations from Black Earth to put together that tip sheet. Right.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we're trying
Well
to
done.
reach as many people as we can.
Yeah, it's
Well
great.
done. Well, hope you have great success.
Thanks.
And again, let us know how it goes.
all right.
But
will
thank
do.
you for doing this,
All right, thank you.
and thanks for coming in. Okay, we are ahead of schedule. Ms. Dugman, is everybody here that you want to have here? Okay, our next item up, to change gears, we're going to get into the numbers and have a Finance Department presentation. You all stay in the back row. You should be right up front. You do all this work. Come on.
they do it every single year.
I know, but
Doesn't get old.
22 in a row, they've been doing it in the back row.
we're all friends. Come on. Yes, so I'm going to have our finance director give us more good news, and then we're going to get into some discussion of particular items that we have on our agenda to discuss while you're here.
Yep,
So give us the good news.
Great. So we have been notified that the town again has received the CAFR award from the GFOA. And CAFR is our certificate of annual financial reporting. It's our annual financial statements that we're required to do, put into kind of a broader document that has a lot of financial information. And then you have to submit it to the Government Finance Officers Association. It's a nationwide group. And they go through it to see if it kind of meets this high level of their criteria. And we were notified that we did receive it. It's considered the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting. We believe it truly reflects a goal the Select Board set many, many years ago of professionalism and transparency with the town's finances. It's really a key way for the town to measure that. So for FY18, that is our 22nd consecutive award. That really is outstanding for a small town like Westwood. Right now, about 45 communities in Massachusetts receive the award each year, so that's only about 13% of the communities in the state. And the other ones with the length of our longevity is very small. So we have that table there, Cambridge, Worcester, Boston, Hingham, and Westwood. So for us, with the exception of Hingham, those are certainly different sized communities that have kind of longevity that we do. Most other recipients are kind of new in getting this award with between 2 and 10 years. So we're very proud to receive this, and we think it's a positive statement for the community on kind of how we're handling the finances. I do want to thank the financial staff for their work on that. Tonight here we have Laura Bakari, our budget analyst, Kathy Foley, the assistant treasurer, Maria O'Leary, town accountant. And they, along with the other staff throughout all of our financial offices, really participate in this. I tell the staff all the time, it's only because of what they do every day throughout the year. They keep clean, good records on a daily basis. We do monthly reconciliation with all kinds of things. That lets us close out our year quickly, get our reports together, and get them in. That really makes a difference. And just finally, this is a really, because it's a national standard, really helpful when we go out for our credit reviews. So when we have some projects coming up in the next couple of years, we'll be out in the debt market, we'll be out getting our bond rating reviewed. This document's really useful for them. They go online, they get our report, they kind of know where we are with all the key indicators because they know where to look for it.
Okay, so thank you, each and every one of you, for doing this and for holding up to these high standards. It's very helpful for the town to have this, so well done.
Thank you. So now we just have a couple other financial items. One is just free cash. We had our free cash certified last week by the Department of Revenue. Free cash is really our retained earnings as we close out a year. So we had the amount certified, our as of June 30th, 2019 number, $6.6 million. And again, I want to thank the staff, particularly Marie and Kathy. DOR only certifies your free cash after you submit a lot of documentation, your balance sheet, your reconciliation of receivables, your reconciliation of cash, lots of statements on your debt position. They go through all of that before they kind of certify your number. So what that means is that we now have $6.6 million that we can apply to future years' budgets. The chart shows the amount we've had certified each year in blue, and then the amount that we use of that certification each year in green. It takes town meeting vote to use free cash. On the bar chart, you can see on the left, kind of in 2009, 2010, some very difficult budget years, we were using every penny of free cash just to get through our process. Now we're much more disciplined. We're in a good place. We only use free cash. We don't apply it to operating budgets. We only use it for capital budgets or transfer to our stabilization, any other one-time miscellaneous needs we may have at town meeting, snow and ice, something like that. So we're in a really good position. The 6.6 million compares favorably to 5.8, which was the year before. So we're really kind of, about at the same place that we are. We used a little bit less free cash at last year's May town meeting than we had before, and that was primarily because we did not need any additional amount for snow and ice, and we did not really have any kind of miscellaneous different kind of articles at town meeting. It was basically just our capital and stabilization. Just one other chart that just has our free cash number for a number of years and how we've used it. In the blue is our most recent year, what happened at May town meeting. We had 5.8. We used 125,000 for that stabilization transfer, 3.1 for capital. So we used in total 3.2 million, leaving us unallocated at 2.5. Our target, our financial policy is unallocated of 3.3 million. We typically don't meet that, but we're only using the additional amount for one-time things, additional capital or snow and ice, so that's fine. It's not like we've been going in using that for operating budget. So we're set up to do, as you start the 2021 budget later in the fall, we would have the same amount for stabilization. We would have our 2.3 million for our base capital, and then we would have an additional capital of about 800 to 900,000, like we've done the last couple of years. That would put us directly at target, and again, we could go beyond that if we needed to. So it's
That's
a
very
good
good news.
position. Again, we're glad to have this done early. Kind of the earlier you can get your numbers into DOR, the better you get the turnaround. We weren't sure earlier in the late summer if we were going to have a fall town meeting or not, so we wanted to have this number so that it would be available if needed for the fall town meeting. But it's good to have it done. The next item is the capital budget release. In May, town meeting voted $4.7 million in capital. The Select Board has already released the first quarter of that requested capital, $3.8 million. So there's about $969,000 to be released for the remainder of the year. We have been coming into you for a number of years now and having you do a quarterly release of capital. In about 2009, we had additional language put on the capital budget articles at town meeting that said that we had to come in and ask for a release from the Select Board before a department could go ahead and spend that capital that was approved at town meeting. We did that specifically as a financial tool. We had very bad budget years, 2008, 9. The state actually made mid-year cuts to our state aid. We didn't really have a lot of ways to deal with a mid-year cut like that. So we put this tool in place at that time, saying that if we took a significant cut during the year, we could maybe hold back on some capital if that would help us balance our budget. We really have not had to do that. We've been coming into you on a quarterly basis. We've kind of not had the mid-year disruption since that time. And at this point, we do have some additional tools in place. The town, at the Select Board's direction, has worked very hard over the last couple of years to build our stabilization reserve account, to be disciplined with our use of free cash. And those are tools that we could use if we were to experience a mid-year disruption in the future, instead of having to pull back from the capital. So I do think it's important that the capital that's voted at town meeting, that we show that we are definitely going to do those projects, use the other tools if needed, and then also just in reality, most of the capital every year is asked for in the summer because that is when the departments do their work. Particularly the school departments is out doing their work or they're purchasing in the summer. For some of the municipal departments, the large capital they do, police vehicles or DPW trucks, they're ordering those early in the year because there is kind of a long lag time sometimes to get that. So in a sense, we're coming in and doing this quarterly release, but most of it's being released in the first quarter, and there's some other tools. So we are actually asking tonight that you just release the remainder of fiscal 20 capital, $969,000, and that we recommend changing now that process going forward, so that we do not do that same language on the FY21 capital at future town meetings. And so once capital is approved at town meeting, it can go forward when the fiscal year
Any
starts.
questions or comments?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think, we're on the cusp of having a new town administrator, and I think there's a lot of, we've talked about this, we have eliminated long-range financial planning. There's just some things we've done for a long time, this being one of them. And so I would rather we have a discussion holistically. I think there are a number of things that maybe we need to talk about, modernization, and I would prefer that we not start kind of the picking and the choosing. Logically and economics make sense of what you said, but I think it's important that the town has visibility to what's being spent throughout the year. And if we solely talk about this at town meeting and then we solely vote once here, it's a little bit out of sight, out of mind. And I know we're in great economic times right now, but I'm just a little hesitant. And I just would rather this be part of a larger discussion.
Sure.
I'm kind of torn. I hear what John's saying, and I hear what you're saying. So I suppose I need to give it a little bit more thought as to which side I want to come down on. I understand, it's already been approved by the town, so unless we really get in dire straits. The problem is, as everyone knows, the prediction is not good for the next 2 years, or at least that's what they're telling us. So it might have been a better decision a couple of years ago, and now we might be going right back to
I think
where
we
we
should
were.
just leave it that we are seriously considering it.
Right.
We can
And we have
make the
time
transition.
before the next,
Right.
like, I think
Town
it's a
meeting,
good,
yeah.
I think it's a good kickoff discussion, and we
Yeah.
have time. And I hear what you're saying, I just want to think about it a little bit.
The time we have, though, is the time leading up to when we're in the budget discussions
Right.
with the Finance Commission, because if there's a change, that process leading up to town meeting would need to be informed by it. So why don't we leave it? Serious consideration is being given for all the reasons
Yes,
you've just
absolutely.
stated.
Yes.
They're very logical, and as we spell it out, we can indicate more specifically the levels of resources we have, should there be issues that arise that aren't necessarily predictable at this point, but how would we deal with them as an alternative, and just vet this a little further. That'd be fine.
If there's things you need released tonight beyond this quarter, like let's, then we should do those. I don't want to.
Not beyond, but we would need the second quarter. I believe it's in your packet, but I can read them out.
That's the remaining amount, so I'm not sure what the
969,
quarterly amount
and
is.
there's a breakdown.
Do you have the partial amount for the quarter?
I do. So
Yes.
I think in your.
9
not
million.
In that pic, but in
900,000.
your
Yeah,
packet,
900,000.
That's the whole
69.
year, isn't it?
this
the whole
sheet
year.
That's
here
just this
laid out
quarter. At this time, so.
No, at May, 4,796,000 was approved.
Yeah, that's the remainder.
So how much
In
for the
your,
book?
on your
In the
tablet.
meeting material?
Yeah, in the material there was the little discussion on capital.
All the way to 37, okay.
Sorry, and it's this page here which shows the
Figure a way to
quarterly
fix
distribution.
37, okay.
Okay.
Used to be able to.
All right, so let's see, we did the 3 million. Very hard to follow on this tablet.
Sorry, this one here. Do you have this one?
Yes.
Next page? Okay,
It is, yeah.
The
I'm
third,
looking for the $3 million number to see what that was.
3.8, the first quarter.
Yeah, it's not, oh, I see, it's cut off at the bottom of the page. 3.836, something like that?
3826, yes.
26,
The
okay.
second quarter requested was $462,160.
Got it, so
Okay.
we can
Yeah.
see
With
that.
286,160 of that coming from the schools.
Yes,
Okay. 152,500 from municipal,
yes,
fire, IS, police,
yep, and then there's a little for ambulance.
and then a small amount, 23.5 for ambulance rescue
Yeah.
equipment.
Pam,
So for the total is 462,160, is
Yes.
that what it is? For the second quarter
For the
alone?
second
there it is, yeah,
462,160.
462,160, okay.
Yeah, those numbers got
Cut off. Yeah,
sliced
they
down
got
the middle.
sliced down the
on
middle, so.
On the transfer over to the, that's all right. Any questions about the second quarter
No.
release?
No.
Okay, let's take care of that now, if we can.
Okay. What page am I going to now? Okay, back again. What page? 17? 16.
So just move the release
Okay.
for the quarter.
I move that we approve the release of the remaining FY20 capital budget items and
No, just for the second quarter, Mike.
it's for the second quarter.
In the amount of
462,160.
$160.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. It's a lot of work just to get that out, isn't it? We could have just done the whole thing at once, but no, it's fine. I think that's
Yes,
great.
that's fine.
I think we're moving in the right direction to be having these discussions because policy was from 10 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
we
you had
do-
one
it's
more
such
item?
cyclical work, sometimes we do just get caught up in doing
The same
same
thing?
thing every year, and it's good to look and change, yep.
Okay.
And then one other release to discuss is the University Station funding for the public safety departments. So in town meeting, and in the budget document that we vote, there was $537,500 set aside for police and fire departments. In the first year that we used the funds from University Station, we show that separately. So right under the municipal budget, it was listed separately and explained in the budget process that it was for police and fire, particularly some new staffing, 2 new firefighters, 2 new police, the 1 communication center director, as well as an adjustment to the overtime in both those budgets. The language under that notation in town meeting says that the select board needs to vote to approve releasing those funds into those budgets and authorize them to go forward with those hirings.
Okay.
Is there any reason not to do that?
No.
Okay.
I move that the board approve the release of the FY20 police and fire department budgets in the amount of $537,500 approved by town meeting and authorize new hiring process to proceed.
I have a question. I
Okay.
just, now I can't find my place.
Discussion?
I just didn't understand when I read it, it talks about the release of the capital, the release of the money for the new positions, and then adjusted to overtime. What is that? I just didn't understand what it
Sorry,
meant.
the amounts listed there, where we came up during the budget process for the $537,000,
Yeah.
was for 2 new firefighters, and that's approximately $129,000, and then an increase to the overtime account of $87,000.
So they're just added together?
That was the budget,
Oh, okay.
and similar on police. So at this point, with this funding, we have adjusted the police overtime to what had been requested by the chief. We've been building towards that the last couple of years, as well as the fire department. In addition, with these hirings, we are really at the point of completing the initial staffing increases that were outlined at the start of University Station. We've done that incrementally. I think this is the 3rd time that we've done the release, probably 15, I think it was 17 or 18, and now the 20 budget. So to date, we've been able to add additional 23 public safety positions to the police and fire departments through the university station funding process, which has helped them service that area as well as increase the service to the rest of the community. So this is really just the budget behind that number, and you're authorizing that budget to kind of go to those designated departments.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so we have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Okay.
Thanks, Pam.
Again, congratulations. Great job.
Yeah, I know you're getting tired of hearing that, I know.
It doesn't get old for us, so thank you for coming back and sharing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. New business.
Yes, new business. We have
Drafts.
draft of goals for the upcoming year. Mike, just as a overview, a lot of these things don't look updated to reflect their current status. So I think, can you send us these in Word document and maybe we can provide comments? I didn't
Yeah.
circle some, but when I went looking through it, I thought, I'll put it out there. Are there things that we would like to discuss tonight as opposed to having this just available to us? Are there any specific items that anybody would like to discuss? Let me give you an example. Economic development. The status is new to support efforts to attract and permit office development of the last 3 parcels. That's not new. We're moving through that pretty well. So it's little things like that that just don't reflect the current status. As it is now, I think it's sort of
Ongoing.
holdover from what it looked like last year.
So what I did was I worked with a document that had a lot of updates to it, but I took the updates out because they were from last year, and I just went forward with the ones that are still open, and then added a few as I went along. Then I've distributed to the department heads,
Okay?
and I've asked them, but at the end of the week, so I didn't get a lot of response.
Okay.
But I'm looking for additional goals that they have in mind. I figured I'd throw this draft out for you
Okay.
to add to.
Okay.
Also, some of the department heads came back with some verbiage about some of these goals that some things were partway in the fiscal year.
Great,
and
okay.
And so progress has been made on some
Yep.
of these things. So some reported on that. I didn't include that in this because I didn't want to mix and match. I just wanted to start with a document that we could establish the goals and then accept those. The effort really is a lot about being able to hand off a list of goals to
Correct.
say to the next town administrator, okay,
And
here's
also,
where
so
things
staff
are.
is
And-
motivated to keep working on these things.
Right.
Do you want to, when you have new goals, present that as a separate list so we
An addendum?
don't lose sight of it? We can focus on what the new ones are that are going to be incorporated into it?
I can do that, or I could just highlight those, because I'm trying to keep them by department,
Right.
so
Okay,
in area.
whatever works, but
And
just so it could be, maybe
Yeah.
highlighting them is the
Just
way to go,
highlight 'em,
something so we can
put
see
them in
what's
a
being
different
added. as
color
new.
or something, yeah.
Yeah, I agreed with you, though. I think they're probably going to change quite a bit when you have an administrative change.
But we need a foundation.
No, I got it.
Yeah, and I think the new person will want to have some things in place that they're working on while they develop a sense for what
Yeah.
they want to do.
Okay, thank you. Any detailed comments? Okay.
Send it to us.
So
in a
I'll
Word
send out a Word
Word document?
document
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Something we can just edit, that's all.
Thank you. Old business. Ms. Murray, please come forward. Our ongoing discussion of the town administrator search process. I think you have a brief update for us
I do.
tonight. And then maybe after that, we can talk about some meeting dates while we're all together to make sure we fulfill all that we're doing here.
Great. So since last we met, the screening committee met last week on September 4th and conducted first round interviews, the interviews of the candidates that had been selected. So there were 6 candidates that were interviewed, and it was a very impressive group, and we are working as a committee now to compile the list of finalists that will be presented to you at your meeting next Monday night on the 16th. Following the meeting on the 16th, we're scheduled to conduct interviews of the finalists at your scheduled meeting on Wednesday, the 18th.
Which will be at 5 and not at 7:30.
It will be at 5.
Okay, that's going to be a busy day. But we need a follow-up meeting when we actually deliberate and select
Yes.
our candidate of choice. I think you put out a date of the 23rd, but question about other dates in the following week, so trying to find something the week of the 23rd. And I think the first
Monday,
ask
the
was...
23rd was the date I heard.
Yeah, that was the only day that can work for me that week.
It's
It
the
is,
only day
it
that
does?
can't-
Fabulous.
Okay.
Because you said it works?
Works for me.
How
It
easy
works
is
for me.
that?
Terrific, thank you. For everybody, this is a very involved process, and there are a lot of extra meetings, but I think it's great that we can come together and do this efficiently, so that's terrific.
That meeting will be at 8 o'clock, right?
No,
No? It's going to do it at 7:30? Okay.
Monday, the 23rd at 7:30.
So you gotta-
Here?
Yeah,
We
we have
moved it up
Oh, you moved
early.
yours.
moved
We're
our,
gonna try
up,
to 6.
yes.
Okay.
What time is the sewer commission?
It's tentatively scheduled for 7, but we're going to try.
And you're
and
going
push it
there
back
as
to
town
6.
council?
I am.
But we're going to
Let's
try and
move right
hold it
in.
Your
here.
new hat.
So I will get back with the date tomorrow.
Okay.
on that date.
And unless, I think that would be the only reason for us to come together on the 23rd, given we have a meeting on the
Spend a lot of
16th.
Quality time together.
Right. So we're not meeting on the 30th, correct now? Because I have that it's Rosh Hashanah that day, too.
We are not meeting on the 30th.
First is Rosh Hashanah?
This has
Okay.
been a challenging fall to
Uh,
schedule.
Okay. Well,
We are
No.
trying to come up with a meeting.
For the
So we learned
12th.
the 14th is Columbus
14th,
Day. The 14th of
correct.
October is Columbus Day. Apparently, the 7th doesn't work for one of us to have a
That would-
regular meeting.
That would be me, I'll tell you that right
You,
now.
that's fine. I'm not trying to call anybody out. We just, we try to work to make everybody there. It was suggested the 8th, but that is a Jewish holiday on the 8th of October, and we'd like not to schedule something. So I just want to put out there a query about maybe meeting on the 15th of October, the day after Columbus Day.
It's fine with me.
Good.
I can do that, sure. That's fine.
And cancel the 1st.
Cancel the 1st. The 1st would have been a meeting before Finance Commission.
That's,
They are meeting that night. They have asked for an update from us, and I don't know, Mike, if you got my email to see if you could go with me
Yeah, I
that
can-
night. Anybody's obviously welcome, but it's just,
do you want me to go? Okay.
The only other thing I would just ask you to think about, we don't need to discuss now because I don't think we're ready to discuss it, but at what point and what's the process for the dissolution of the screening committee? So, I know that our chair is planning to come on Monday, the 16th, to present the
Sure.
finalists, so we're still actively working till
Right.
then.
let's add it to our agenda on the 23rd,
Okay,
the night we're.
Going to come to
make a
some
sele-
decision.
come to a decision, and then we can add that to, we'll know where we are at that point, and possibly,
Resolve it then.
resolve it then, or identify when we resolve it at that point. It might not be effective right then, but, because then there would still be potential negotiations to secure the selected candidate. So, that's great. Anything else we need to discuss
No,
at this
I
point?
don't think so.
Okay, we've got dates.
We got
You'll give us
dates.
people
We're
next
not meeting on
Monday,
the
We will
30th.
give you people.
at which point the finalists will become
The
publicly
finalists will become
known.
publicly known at the meeting on the 16th.
Right. Thanks, Joan. Thanks
Thank
for all
you.
you're doing.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have minutes. Tish, do you have anything you want to share with us, or we'll go by what we, you have copies?
I have copies.
Okay.
Bye, ladies, you don't want to stay for our minutes?
It's riveting.
I didn't get any revisions.
Okay, here we go.
Fifth?
This is regular meeting.
Yes.
Yes,
the
that's what we're
regular
doing
meetings.
right now. We'll do executive session and executive session. Okay, so we have the 5th of August and the 26th of August. Two most recent meetings before tonight.
Correct. I didn't have any changes to the 5th.
If I can make one minor suggestion, and maybe it's already been changed. Okay. I'm looking at the 5th, and it's already been changed, or what I read online, I read too quickly. It was under the appointments and reappointments. I thought it said Mr. McCusker, but it says M. McCusker. So that's fine.
Okay.
Just wanted to make it clear who we were appointing.
We good?
John?
I'm done.
Okay.
Okay.
I move that we approve the minutes of August 5th, 2019 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. August 26th. Any comments? Any amendments?
I'm good.
Okay, motion?
I move that we approve the August 26th, 2019 minutes consisting of 5 pages as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay.
Nora's raising her hand from the back.
Yes, Nora?
On appointments, I just wanted to check, we discussed there were 2 appointments of planning board members. I don't know if they were made. If they're made, Abby just didn't get.
Abby
notice.
followed up. We're going to take care of them Monday night, so we'll get it resolved, and Tish will put it on the agenda for Monday night. And we'll get that, it kind of fell between, yeah. All right, so I'm just checking on the executive session process here. So our plan is to now go into executive session to discuss 3 issues pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, and Section 22. One is to discuss a contract extension for our interim town administrator. The second is to review old minutes of executive session, and the third is to release those minutes of executive session that we vote to release. All these items would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governing body if the discussion were held in open session. We will return to open session at the conclusion of executive session, so we'll be back in just a few minutes. I will take a motion to
So
go into
moved.
second on
Second.
the motion to go in. Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
And I say aye as well, so we will return after executive session. Thank you. Okay, we are returning to open session. It is Tuesday, September 10th. We moved back from executive session. The purpose of our being in open session now is to vote an agreement to extend the contract with our interim town administrator, Mr. Gillette, who has been working under a contract with us since his official retirement date, and he has agreed to continue to work for the town through November 15th, if we vote to approve this contract now. And included in the contract agreement is that either party may request termination of this contract with 15 days' notice of one to the other. And so we, parties have come to this conclusion, and before we vote, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Gillette for agreeing to stay with us while we complete the search process for your successor. Any questions or comments? A motion to approve the...
Just add one thing.
Yes, please.
During the discussion, I just wanted to be clear, because it was an executive session that I recused myself from the room and did not participate in the
noted.
discussion. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so I
Were you,
move,
your microphone was on, so that could be heard, because you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
your
I
soft
think
voice.
it's fine.
Okay,
We're-
terrific, thank you.
I move that we modify the interim town administrator contract extension with Mike Gillette from October 1st, 2019 through November 15th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Tish, you have 2 copies for them?
Okay, let's sign those, and then we'll adjourn after that. And thank you, Counselor, for assisting us with this process.
My pleasure.
Sorry.
Since Mr. Hickey has signed, I move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.